think of the word success. Is it millions of dollars? Is it loss of approval by people? Is it partying on a fancy yacht in Hawaii with Rihanna and your very own pet tiger? And although that last one was oddly specific, I think we can all agree it's easy to automatically assume people who have these things have quote-unquote made it in life. However, this belief is flawed in more ways than one. And I can almost guarantee by the end of this video, you'll not only see your life in a different way, but you'll see other people's lives differently as well. When discussing the topic of what is and what is not a successful life, I believe a great story to base an opinion on is the episode Lisa Simpson, This Isn't Your Life from The Simpsons. In this episode, Lisa makes some judgments and biases on her mother's decision making. It begins with Lisa looking through Marge's achievements and accomplishments throughout her childhood, and she is instantly impressed.
Mom, these grades are amazing, just as good as mine. But then you wound up like you.
She doesn't understand how someone so academically gifted could end up as a stay-at-home mom years later. It's definitely not the lifestyle she would have chosen for herself, nor plans to choose in the future. Considering Lisa is pretty much a walking straight A, she begins to doubt if her grades are good enough to avoid a future like her mother.
I've learned a lot about human nature by sitting in the park with Mother, and one thing I've learned is children turn out like their parents. Behold your future.
Oh.
There is some truth to this observation by Principal Skinner. At an early age, children treat their parents like gods because the way their mom and dad behave and the way they live their lives is all they know and see. So no matter what, they'll always carry traits from their parents both consciously and unconsciously. However, this doesn't mean they're doomed to the same career as them. The School of Life calls this dilemma family work scripts. Scripts that guide children towards proven methods for survival, but can also restrict them in many ways. Depending on how creative and ambitious the individual is, that person may decide not to play it safe, not to rely on what has worked in the past, and to instead do something different. Then it's just a matter of finding a way to break out of that script, which varies in difficulty based on the parent's approval and the parent's beliefs about how hard it is to do something different and make money from it.
All we do is take, Dad. I'm tired of taking. I want to make things. I want to add something to this world.
You're talking like a human.
Who are not as bad as you say.
Lisa just doesn't want to follow the script, and how can you blame her for that? She further investigates her mom's academic history and discovers her grades declined dramatically when she got to the 12th grade. But what's interesting is this was an intentional decision by her mother, not just something that happened because she was depressed or her classes got too difficult. These records might give off the impression that something tragic happened in her senior year. But as I've said in a previous video, grades don't tell you the full story. What actually happened was the opposite of tragic. Lisa looks through Marge's high school scrapbook and discovers the moment she started dating Homer was the moment she decided for herself her grades didn't really matter anymore because she's in love. Lisa sees this as a questionable decision from her point of view because she believes grades are the end-all be-all. She discusses this discovery with Homer and promises to never allow anyone or anything to distract her from her dreams. Homer, carrying that IDGAF attitude, basically tells her, "You never know how life may play out, so keep your options open." Lisa, in a stubborn yet respectable way, pretty much ignores her dad's advice and instead plans a decade ahead in an attempt to prevent any possible thing from distracting her in the future. She throws away all her possessions, diversions, hobbies, and even her saxophone.
Are you a distraction? Or a higher calling? All right, let's see. How many jazz musicians led long and happy lives? There's,
Homer breaks the news to Marge about Lisa's determination to not end up like her mother. Marge, of course, gets deeply upset and takes it personally. I mean, what parent wouldn't? Nevertheless, in an attempt to meet Lisa halfway, Homer and Marge decide to enroll her in a private school called Cloisters Academy. This makes her happy because it pretty much guarantees that her 6-figure income future is secured. Except, no it doesn't. She's offered a full scholarship on the spot and truly believes in her heart she has a future worth getting excited about. When Lisa wakes up in the middle of the night, she goes downstairs and finds the cold truth. She witnesses her exhausted mom doing the entire school's laundry and immediately realizes that there was never a scholarship. Cleaning the school's laundry was the secret deal that Marge made with the school's principal so that Lisa would have permission to attend the school. Yeah, there's a reason why Marge wanted to beat this dude's ass. She could just sense the dude's a clown. Feeling a bit of guilt about the situation, Lisa decides going to that school isn't worth it if it's just going to make her mom miserable.
You were willing to do all this just so I would be happy. Mom, I'd be honored if I turned out like you.
Even though she's bummed out, her dreams have taken a back seat, she knows in her heart going back to her old school is the right decision. You might think the moral of this story is, a successful life is doing what makes you happy, like what Marge did in her senior year. But actually, I would argue that happiness isn't the answer. Why? Because you can be happy and still be selfish. Lisa chose unselfishness over her happiness. Some of the wisest leaders to ever walk on earth have famously implied that unselfishness is the meaning of life. That is, making sacrifices for God and putting others before oneself, and the very acts of those practices is what makes a life a success. We all know in the back of our minds that there is no perfect answer to this question, and yet despite that, we still appreciate direction in life and have goals regardless, almost as if there is a definitive answer that exists. We strive after what we believe would give us a great sense of satisfaction. Some people might even argue success is subjective, is a cop-out answer, an excuse to not be ambitious, to not take risk, and to not take action. Everyone's got their own perspective, opinions, and story, and that is why I was curious to hear what other people had to say on the matter. So for this video, I asked a couple of strangers what a successful life looks like to them, and their answers were pretty thought-provoking.
A successful life is when I have a lot of time, a lot of free time.
Make a lot of money and have a very good family, like have a very good husband.
Why is it a lot of money?
Because money can have a lot of freedom while you're studying.
Okay, so
Exactly.
if somebody were to not have that much money, is that person not successful or what?
Oh no, it's my criteria,
That's your
and it's
person.
like only from now. Like even like last year, I don't have these thoughts, and it's like keep changing. Yeah, it's like at this moment, like my thoughts is like if I can have a lot of money, I can do whatever I want. Like I can take the dance classes every day.
It's pretty much about how you weigh your life and then the people around you, especially families and then friends' support. I feel like that's pretty much a definition of a success to me. It's definitely not a materialistic thing. Well, like you can't live without money, but eventually it's more of how much you got the support from the people you care, and how you can really give back, like how much you can give back to them.
Successful life for me is when I can concentrate on my health as well as like work with it, because I feel like if you don't have enough money to like concentrate on your mental health and your physical health, then it doesn't make sense. Like I understand that money is not important. Like it's not the top priority, but you should have enough that you can concentrate on your health and on your family's health and on your mental health.
For me, it's more about how much time do you get for yourself and how much time can you stay away from your job is what it's all about. So if you're living a life that's that matches with what you do and you're only spending less than what you make, then you're pretty much successful and you have more time in your hands. Because I know a lot of people who makes a lot of money who doesn't have time to spend with their family and doesn't have enough time for themselves. And I don't think that's a successful life because they don't have their own time.
Yeah, of course I will choose the happiness one, because when I say I want to make a lot of money, because money makes me happy. But if I have a lot of money but I'm not happy, but the other option is like I'm happy, but even I don't have a lot of money, I will still choose the happy, because my final like destination is happy. Yeah.
I mean, it's personal preference. Like I work in a 9 to 5, and I'm happy with it. I am trying to work on projects that I like more. I try to discuss it with my manager or stuff like that. So it totally depends on you. Some people like to do business. For example, my father likes to do business, so he's working all night, all day, and he likes it that way. My mom is a homemaker, and she does more social work. She likes it that way. So, I mean, it depends. It's like personal preference, I feel.
I work in fashion, so I don't really think that defines the people, like that defines success with how much you make.
Yeah.
It's really about how I'm satisfied with the work I do myself, and how I can utilize the money I make and make myself happy on a daily basis with what I can make, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that richer people are happier.
I'm already doing well enough. I feel like every day you do something well enough for yourself. So life goal is not something like a do or die situation. Life goal is something you work on every day, and if you still don't reach it, you don't reach it.
So the person who drops out of college, is that person a failure for dropping out of college?
Definitely no. And I bring back the tag examples. How many of the tech CEOs been dropping off the school? It doesn't mean anything. There's just so many ways you can be successful, even with influencers. If I could, I have that energy to, like, you know, edit something, like, you know, create a profile to go viral, I would do that too. It's just that I don't have that passion for it.
This is a video of a homeless guy who calls himself the happiest man in London. He spends his days putting smiles on people's faces with his positive messages. Homeless people are often looked down upon as those who have hit rock bottom. Yet if you ask this guy, I'm sure he would tell you he considers his life a total success.
If you smile because you've got nothing, it means they can smile because they have something.
If you were to ask me to give a legitimate answer for what I believe a successful life is, it would be finding a way, or multiple ways, to make a positive impact on the world in your own special way. Similar to what this guy does for random people. It's basically Marge Simpson's job to be generous every day for her family. So I guess in this context, we could say she lives a pretty successful life. Lisa gets the chance to truly appreciate this characteristic of her mother by the end of the episode. It's because of this story, the homeless man with a smile, and a few profound answers from people I ran into, I now believe that success isn't what you have, it's what you give. Don't forget to express yourself, and thanks for watching.